Welcome to Music Maniacs Live, and we're going late tonight. It is concert season, so we have a lot to talk about tonight. Big concert report from the great Bruce Dickinson. I mean, top three concerts I've ever seen so far in my life, for sure. And I believe he's coming to Fort Lauderdale, Brown. So if you could take the time to see that, I mean, it's definitely once in a lifetime. You don't. I mean, Dickinson's when he does it Maiden overseas, he's doing what 70,000 seat arenas, and to see him in a House of Blues with, I guess, 1,000 people. It could have been 300 people. I mean, it was packed, but it's small, so you can't tell if it's just 300 people or it's like 1,000 people. To be honest with you, but we're gonna get into that. But really, the breaking news, if you want to pull that up, about the Roger Waters, Jack Osbourne
Yeah, I
said
got it
something
right
to,
up here, courtesy
yeah, we
of
got to get into that.
blabbermouth.net. And I think it's time we give Roger Waters a good whooping in the ass for this one, as well as the other stupid stuff that he said and did in the past. Now,
Oh, it's
this is
weird. It's
from,
weird. It's weird because we talked about. I think we talked about it last week, but like the Becky Lynch promo. Like, what's all with all these people
yes,
crapping on Ozzy? Being
I
negative
don't
to
know.
Ozzy.
Well, like again, I listened to the show you was on with Joe Cronin and Bullfrog and later Garguts. Like we mentioned before the last time, Becky Lynch is the one of the top female heels within the women's division at WWE, and one of the main priorities of a heel is to talk smack about whichever city that they're in, whether it's Birmingham, England or Alabama or Detroit or any other city that they mentioned a few
Yes.
times, whether it's Compton. That's their game. That's their attempt to get you riled up, get you to hate them, get the reaction from the audience. And judging for how she did it and who she referred to, she definitely did her job. So now the next WWE pay-per-view event comes up. Whoever is going to be taking her on, most likely everybody's going to be cheering on for that female babyface to beat Lynch's ass. Most definitely. That's how the game of pro wrestling is done. Have the heel come out, talk smack about everything that's out there, cities, family, you name it, to get the babyface riled up, to get a reaction from the audience. Heels have done that many times before. I've seen him many times in the past at wrestling shows. I heard him on promos on independent circuits many times. WWF, when it was still called that. WCW, when that company was still functioning. And even some of the heels in AEW or
Yeah.
NWA.
Well, Roger
That's the
Waters. This had nothing to do. I mean, yeah, you're explaining the last week's and everything, and that's all. I mean,
yeah.
there's. I mean, even like you said, did you watch when you watched that show? You liked it?
Well, it was interesting. Yeah, it was interesting to see you, Bullfrog, and later Garguts come in as well on Joe's program there.
yeah, me and Garguts, we've never really. I don't want to say got along, but look, there's more people that I guess would say don't like me than I don't like them. And Garguts was great last night. We didn't argue. We didn't. Nice professional show, and we had fun, and that's how it's going to be, and that's how it should be. Now,
Nice.
obviously, I've donated hundreds of dollars. I'm Joe's top donator right now,
Yeah, I see
and
there.
we really want you over there. Joe really loves you. We'll talk about that more behind the scenes. But even I invited Joe casually on tonight. I don't know if he's awake or whatever, but he told
Probably
me to tell
live on
you.
his show. Yeah.
Yeah, he told me to tell you that he always liked you, and that he, the whole suicide thing, like that was the whole problem, and he doesn't want to offend you, and you know what I mean. But think about it, no rush or whatever. But he would like you on and everything, and like you back in over there. But because it is hard with, and even Jesse brought up the whole tar thing, and you just gotta kind of you got to lead it your own way, bro. Like you can't the Tards don't lead the show. They need to be asked questions, or they're just going to sit there. So if you're asking them questions, and they're going to talk, and everything's fine, and everything works out. And that's how I kind of approach it. It don't matter who's on there on the panel. I'm going to ask everyone a question, different questions, and I like to ask questions, and that makes conversation. And anyways,
All
thank you for
right.
watching. Thank you for watching and being positive.
All right.
So this Roger Waters thing,
Yeah, we got it.
yeah,
I didn't find out about this until you mentioned it before we went on the air. And it says here, according to blabbermouth.net, Jack Osborne's son, excuse me, Ozzy Osbourne's son, Jack, has put Roger Waters on full blast after the co founder and bassist and lyricist and co vocalist of Pink Floyd claimed in an interview that he never did care about Black Sabbath and could not give a fuck about Ozzy Osbourne. Now, let me scroll down here. While speaking with the Independent Inc., Roger Waters said, quote, Ozzy Osbourne, who just died, bless him in whatever state that he was in his whole life, will never know. Although he was all over TV for hundreds of years with his idiocy, his nonsense, the music, I have no
what?
idea. He said that, yes. I
Wait,
think
is
it's
this in
referring
it?
to.
Is this? Does it say? It probably said. I just missed it. Did it? Is this from like a magazine interview, like a video interview, like a
I'm
Skype
not too
interview? Like how?
sure. I don't know. I never heard of the Independent Ink myself. I guess it's probably either a podcast or a publication. But
Yeah.
either way, he did say, you know, he's been all over TV. Ozzy was throughout the hundreds of years with his idiocy and his nonsense.
God.
Yeah, the music, I have no idea. I couldn't give a fuck. And Waters would later add and say, I don't care about Black Sabbath. I never did. Have no interest in biting the heads off of chickens or whatever they do. I couldn't care less.
Well, look,
Now,
let me add this real quick. There is a lot of, especially when I go to these concerts, definitely a lot of 50, 60, 70, probably in your 50s, 60s. A lot of gray-haired people, a lot of older people. But there definitely is, there definitely is, besides us who like it all, there's fans of your classic rock, your Pink Floyd, your 70s stuff that's not into the heavy metal part of rock or the heavier music. You know what I mean? And Pink
yes,
Floyd and Black
right.
Sabbath are two completely different sounds. Pink Floyd is so soft and so overrated, in my opinion. I'm just saying. But you get what I'm saying. But there's also fans like us who like them both. We love Sabbath, we love Floyd.
Hmm.
But I could definitely see where Waters is coming. Like, yeah, he's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is super disrespectful. This is super like not reading the room that well. This is super jumping the gun. This is super not appropriate. This is a super asshole thing to say. But I understand what he's saying. He's basically like not into the heavier music. Specifically Black Sabbath. But like, there definitely is. There's probably fans of. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. I'm a big Steve Miller Band fan. I'm a big Doors fan, but I do not like heavy music. I do not like Black Sabbath. I do not like, and I can understand that there's just fans. There's fans of not the heavier side of rock, the heavier music. What is your opinion on that? And then you can continue reading if you want, brother.
Well, well, let me say this about Roger Waters. This is not the first time Waters has been a complete asshole. I mean, various interviews, he supported Russia's attack on Ukraine, which he got called out for, made it by even members of the Pink Floyd fan base themselves, even by David Gilmour's wife, who took to the former Twitter, now known as X, and called him out, saying the egotistic, maniac, such and such and such, and of course Gilmour replied with the I agree 100%, obviously, because Waters and Gilmour had a lot of issues with between one another. And let's not forget, Waters took the members of Pink Floyd to court back in around 1986 to prevent them from using the name Pink Floyd because he felt that he was bigger than Pink Floyd. He was Pink Floyd altogether. Remember, it was his name. He claimed it was his pig up in the being floated around in the arenas. It's their dry eyes. So it's my gimmick. It's my this. It's my that. And blah blah blah. I mean, Waters has a tremendous big ego. Let's keep that in mind. Of course, that ego got demolished while he went on tour at the same time Pink Floyd did. And lo and behold, Pink Floyd had a top 10 record with A Momentary Lapse of Reason, their first album without him, while Roger Waters, his record at the time, Radio Chaos, did, and he also did in terms of concert attendance. I mean, like Pink Floyd were filling all these stadiums, arenas, and Waters, he was playing some arenas, but some of them were, let's just say, they weren't exactly sold out. So Pink Floyd got even with Waters by touring as Pink Floyd, which, by the way, they won the right in court to use the name. And Waters just had to step back and realize he was not bigger than Pink Floyd. And Waters has also said other crazy stuff in the past. For example, he even said that Joe Biden, when he was president, was a war criminal. Now, I do not see how Biden, as demented as he was, as dumb as he was during his presidency, would be a war criminal. To me, a war criminal would be sending thousands of men and women overseas, whichever country, to take down this group of army, this army, that army. You know, like I remember Filthy Mouth Gamer saying years ago that George W. Bush is maybe considered a war criminal for unleashing the second war in Iraq, like he did
All right,
during his time in office.
so Blue Top Guitar in the chat says Roger is not well liked. He tried to destroy Pink Floyd when he left.
He did.
Pl-
He did.
plenty,
Yes.
plenty of people like both, but Roger not so much. What did he do to try to destroy Pink Floyd? Do you know of? Like,
He tried to gain ownership of the name. He found out that Pink Floyd were about to go continue as Pink Floyd without him. And Waters at that time felt like, no, I'm Pink Floyd. I wrote the lyrics to Animals. I wrote The Wall. I wrote the words to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here. You know, like when you think about it, that's probably one of his biggest claims to fame is his lyrics. You know, he's a so-and-so bass player. He's not that much of a singer. I don't know how he is nowadays, but he's able to still sing like he did back in the years before. But the thing is, he wanted to gain control of the name Pink Floyd so he could bury it altogether. He said in various interviews at that time when The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking came out in 1984, one of his first solo records, he said, Pink Floyd is gone. No more. It's over. You know, he's done with it. At that time, Waters was way grumpy over the music business and everything else. And let's not also forget, in their last tour date in Montreal, Quebec, Canada in 1977, in tour of the album Animals, which the title of the tour was called In the Flesh, there was so many issues with that whole concert. In fact, Waters was so disgruntled, some fan who came by to say hi to the band, Waters spat right in his face. Now, Waters says today that was probably one of the most awfulest things that he did, but it was that resentment and that incident would help Waters gain the momentum to write would be considered one of the biggest concept albums probably of all time, in my opinion, being, of course, The Wall.
wait, did Roger Waters predominantly write that album, or was it like a joint?
Yes, he wrote the album. Only Gilmore contributed on a couple tracks, co-writing songs like I guess Run Like Hell and Young Lust, but most of the whole core of that album was Waters from start to finish. I mean, he
All
was
right,
kind of like
so
leading Pink Floyd.
yeah, so you can finish the article. I didn't mean to interrupt before, but
Okay, well, but I'm glad you brought that up because
yes.
like Waters' dad said and did some atrocious stuff as well. And also, Len, you may remember back in 2005 when the main lineup of Pink Floyd got back together to do those 4 songs at the Live 8 show. Waters, Gilmore, Mason, Wright. Now, many people are saying, will the original Pink Floyd ever get back together to do a tour? Not necessarily so. There was one point he was asked that at backstage. He just grimaced and just walked away there because there were a lot of harsh feelings between Gilmore and Waters. In fact, the two hardly made eye contact during that whole set. And also, one more thing, Waters did say that if he were to reunite with Pink Floyd, it'll probably have to be a short set because he don't think he can handle a full one. He did say that, folks. Now back to the article. Earlier today, September 2nd, Jack took to his Instagram stories to write, "Hey, Roger Waters, fuck you. How pathetic and out of touch you have become. The only way you seem to get attention these days is vomiting out bullshit in the press. My father always thought you were a C word. Thanks for thanks for
Wait, they
providing
said
him the
the
yeah
he said quote C word, or actually they said cunt in the article.
yeah cunt in the article.
Oh
Correct.
my
He
God,
did.
God.
Yeah, and he also and he concluded by saying thanks for providing him for proving him right. Now, in a 2004 chat with Rolling Stone, Osbourne said that the Pink Floyd classic Money was one of his favorite rock songs, adding that it stirred up vivid recollections from his wilder years. Ozzy said it reminded him of his LSD days. I'm glad I survived. And Waters reportedly gave a mean review of Black Sabbath's debut song, Evil Woman, in 1970, saying at that time, well, I'm speechless. Well, almost. You keep thinking it's going to start. You think that for the first minute, and then if you're really perceptive, you realize it's not going to start. And that's all there is. And he said that about the song Evil Woman, a cover tune that Sabbath did at that time. Now, that's about it for the article. And of course, it includes with Jack Osbourne's Instagram post, and that was about it.
Okay, so like that. Okay, so let's bring it back to the um the Becky Lynch promo, right?
Yes.
When we were talking about that Joe and Gargots, and definitely can see a lot of, and if not most people, not saying that was a big deal and it was a part of the promo, and she kind of put him over. But my thing was, my thing is, it's too soon to be. If you're gonna bring up Ozzy or Hulk Hogan or someone major when they just died like that, if you're gonna bring them up, make it a positive thought, a positive remark. Don't make it to where, and again, go into both Waters and Becky Lynch, what they said about Ozzy. It was negative. Yes, Becky Lynch did put Ozzy over by saying, hey, he was smart enough to get out of here and move to LA or whatever, right?
Yes, he did.
But she essentially shit all over his birthplace and the birthplace of the heavy music, of the heavier
Yeah.
side of rock, heavy metal.
Well, yeah.
Which
Well,
that's the bigger, that's which wrestlers shit on cities. We get that, but
yeah,
now going to the Waters thing, it was all negative statement. It was, I
it
don't listen
was.
to them. I don't listen to Sabbath. I never liked, the blah 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 blah. It's all negative statement. So I agree, and people in the chat, if you want to, but I agree with Jack Osbourne. Obviously, he's the son of Ozzy Osbourne, and he's
Yep.
taking up for him because he obviously
Ozzy
died.
was his father. Yes, I mean, like he's
Now,
defending his family. And
Is
like I
it
said before, Waters is a prick. He's an
is it
idiot.
something? Is it okay to shit on people when they're dead, Brown?
No, not really.
Well, well,
It's
you
not.
did it.
It's because
Well, you did it with Keith Workharder.
well, I didn't really shit on it. And I don't ever talk smack about him. But here's the
Well, you're
thing.
being kind of negative, and he's dead. He can't defend himself. So you were kind of,
Well, here's yeah, but then again, this is a serious. This is a total different
and you
subject. You
kind
got
of
to
do
remember.
have the same. Well, you kind of do have the same hairstyle as Roger Waters too. So it was like a similar. I'm just saying. I'm just comparing them. Just not trying to put you on the spot, but it is. If you look at it that way, I mean, maybe what I'm saying. Like, and maybe it's just me. Maybe me and some other people. When people are dead, and again, it's two different things, like you were saying. I get it. It's two different. The Keith and Ozzy. They're two different things. But now, what I shit on people when they die? Of course, Joe Biden, stage 4 cancer. Aren't you going to shit all over Joe Biden and love that and stuff? Like out
No,
of all what
I
out of all what
wouldn't. I would.
all the leftists say about Trump and 86 this and all that. You know what I mean?
Well,
So like
I would.
everyone. I think real quick. I'll let you go. My bad. Let me cook and let me land real quick. I think every human has someone that they want, that when they
Dead.
die they're gonna like it and be happy if someone dies. You think every human has like that special someone that when they die they're gonna be happy, like Roger Waters and Ozzy and you and Keith?
Well, here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. You're like, well, let me say this about Keith all in all, and let it rest. I'm sorry that the guy is gone. It's bad that he had to die, for which I don't know what it was. It was some saying it was a triple C relapse or what it
Yes.
was. But here's the thing. It's hard. At the same time, you got to remember what he did that got him sentenced to that group home for how many years.
No, that's true. We know that. We get that.
Yeah.
But look,
And
Erasmo Martinez is blinking fast because you're upset.
no, but also keep in mind, I'm not doing. I just said nothing. That's all I can say. Other people did said a lot of worse about Keith as well.
But no, I'm just talking about just being positive or negative when someone dies. The fact that, I mean, all you really were saying was like when he comes on shows, he wants to get into Jamaican rap when the show's about rock. It's a
Yeah.
minor, small gripe or whatever. But I'm just saying, um, that we're all guilty of shitting on people when they're already dead. I think we've all done this in our life. I mean, as a human, you dislike, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, you dislike the Democrats. Whether you're um, a New York Yankees fan and you don't like Boston Red Sox fans, you hate Boston. I mean, there's hate everywhere, right?
Hmm.
When someone dies, like Ozzy, when someone dies like Hulk Hogan, it's almost like the world stops. Like there's people that are there's human beings that are so amazing. I mean,
Touched.
there's so much history with so many humans that are so great, like the greatness of a human being. That there's people like that they have fans that love them, fans that love Hulk Hogan, fans that love Ozzy, and then you get and then they die, right? There's all this
Yes.
popular, they're super popular, all these fans, and then they die very suddenly, if that, and very epically. I mean, with the Ozzy concert thing, and then Hogan, just kind of shocking or whatever. He's opening the new wrestling faction or wrestling organization.
Yeah.
So the fact that they both die, and then you hear, I mean, obviously there's outpouring of love everywhere when they die, and sadness, social media, all different countries, everything. But then you get this wrestling promo with Becky Lynch shitting on Birmingham, and during that time, during that concert. That concert was at Birmingham. The funeral procession, everything was at Birmingham. Birmingham, all the fans, everything. Shit's on Birmingham.
Yes.
Roger
Yes.
Waters comes out today or whenever,
Hmm.
says, I didn't like the music. I never listened. I didn't care for the Black Sabbath music. And I didn't care for the biting off the chickens and the wild stuff. And then Jack Osbourne responds to him
Hmm.
and says, you're a piece of shit. You're a cunt. Blah, 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 blah. Obviously, I agree with Jack. But my point is wrapping it up into the weave here. I created the weave is that we don't need to be negative when someone dies. Now, there's people that die that are bad people.
Yeah.
Okay. So there could be people that didn't like Hulk Hogan and thinks he's a racist, and then he dies and then
Hmm.
says, oh, he was a racist asshole piece of shit. Who cares? I'm sure we saw a lot of that.
Oh yeah, there's some. I
So
remember seeing a few comments on social media regarding that topic.
you get what I'm saying? And so it's like, what is with the human brain that the most worst thing, and again, there's bad people, there's good people. The worst thing that can happen to a human being is that you die. Your life is over. You're never going to live again. You're never going to. And someone else, another human, is negative on that person. I just don't. That is so wild and far out to me. It's like if you have it's like if you're a father and you have a son, and your son's 5 years old, and you take your son to the hospital to get gender reassignment surgery. Turn your son into a female at 5 years old. To some
Oh
people, that
God,
is norm. To people, that is normal. That is regular, and to others, that is so far out and extreme and wild
it's
that it's
disgusting.
like. So yeah. So to me, maybe it's just me, but being negative on the dead, minus bad people, which Keith, people say he's bad, and I agree. At a time of his life, he did do a really bad thing and everything, and I agree with that. But I would say the person I knew, and like Jack Osbourne would say, the person Ozzy knew, he isn't that wild guy that bites heads off bats. He's a beloved, you know what I'm saying? Like Ozzy wasn't that wild. Like that was just a persona he put on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
man,
actually, he did.
Ozzy did make that mistake of biting the head off the dove or biting the head off
Yeah,
the bat.
yeah,
He
it was
did
an
do that in the
accident.
past, and he did
Yes,
make that mistake. So, at
and he
the end of the
paid for
day,
it definitely.
people are dead. People are going to be dead forever, and you'll never have to deal with them or hear them again. And I mean, if you don't like that person, you can think of it like that, but don't, you know, be negative. I mean, what Roger Waters did, bro. You have to
Well,
tie
like I
everything
said,
together and weave it up. But like, do you agree with? I mean, but see, comparing the two, the Becky Lynch and comparing that and the Roger Waters, and both being about Ozzy is kind of wild and random, right? But what would you say?
well,
Were you offended from Becky Lynch, and are you offended from Roger Waters?
I
And what is your
I was more offended by Roger Waters than Becky Lynch because, like I said, we all knew it was a promo, and as I mentioned again, I will now. That was her job to get the audience riled up and upset at her, like all wrestling heels do at that time. They still do it to this day. I mean, like, but it's just now, did she go a little bit too far? Maybe yes, maybe no. But in terms of getting the audience revved up, in terms of selling, in terms of causing a commotion, Becky Lynch indeed did that to the max. Now, Roger Waters, as I stated, he's a jerk. Yeah, he may be a great lyricist and a unique songwriter. He came up with a lot of great albums during his time with Pink Floyd, but a lot of you also got to remember he was a jack off at various points. I mean, like the stuff that he said about Pink
I'll
Floyd
tell you
after
this: when
lost the lawsuit.
if Roger Waters comes out and tours again, I'm gonna go to that, Brown. I think I'm gonna go see that.
Hmm.
Even though with the political, It's going to be very cringe for me, but we'll push it through, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and by the way, well, if he, by the way, at the start of it, at the beginning of his last tour, he had a little say, disclaimer saying, thank you for taking your seats and prepare to enjoy the show. Please put your cell phones away, blah, blah, blah. Many other people refused to
Really?
do that. Yep, he did that. Look up the beginning of the This Is Not a Drill tour. He performed in the round of the arena with the couple of screens shaped like a cross, all showing all whichever images, whether it's images of the band, Waters, and other graphics during whichever song they're playing. I mean, like Waters, when you and let me conclude this. The
Yeah.
end of the end of the opening segment. There is a thing for those who say, I love Pink Floyd, but I cannot stand Roger's political views. You could fuck right off to the next drinking bar. That's what that little promo said. That's when he kick into this Redux version of Comfortably Numb. And by the way, speaking of Redux, there was no need for Roger Waters to come up with his version of Dark Side of the Moon, which I heard a couple of tracks from. Not impressive. Thank you very much. There's only one Dark Side of the Moon, and that's the one he did with Floyd, what they done with Dave, Richard, and Nick, and with Alan Parsons doing the engineering chores. All right.
Do you agree with Jack though?
I do agree with Jack. He was,
All
I
right.
mean, I think it's right now, I think it's time for Roger to look himself in the mirror and realize what the hell is going on here. He could at least said something like you mentioned, hey, I'm sorry that Ozzy Osbourne is no longer with us. Like he was a great, unique of an entertainer. Though I was never a big fan of his music or the stuff he did with Black Sabbath that much. He will be very missed within the world of music. Kind of reminds me of that thing that David Crosby did on social media when he came to Eddie Van Halen's death. On when it was still called Twitter, somebody asked, Crosby his thoughts about Eddie Van Halen's death. Crosby responded with, and he got
Could
all sorts of flack for that from everybody, from fans, musicians alike. What did guitar players from Testament, replied to that comment, to that statement, calling
can you
him
ring
out
out
for that?
to can you ring out to Danny MT and Paul 3 and tell them? Can you share this? Can you share the stream on your channel, Brown? You know how to post and share the other people's streams on your post. You know how to do that?
Let me do so. Hold on a second there.
Yeah, there's so
Couple of
to
minutes.
end the end of the Roger Waters. Very shocking. I mean, there's probably more. Look, there, former members of Tesla's forming a new band. There's probably some other news, but that's really the big important news that Roger Waters stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Tying into Ozzy there, but I have two kind of parts to the Bruce Dickinson
Yeah,
concert report I went to on Friday. Same venue as Jerry
Jay
Cantrell.
Crenshaw. Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely two parts to the story. But I'm just gonna explain just everything all in one and weave it like Trump does into one.
Mm-hmm.
So packed, packed line getting in. I went to the first thing I did. I didn't even go to my seat. I went to the merch booth, merch table, took a picture, and waited in line. There's probably, I would say, maybe seven or eight people in front of me. So I wasn't like waiting any, but the line was definitely growing. It goes down like stairs. So you go downstairs and like it's all underground pretty much. So like the stairs going down, there's people waiting in line. There's a couple. It wasn't like the big Maiden merch booth where there's 10 different shirts, 10 different designs. There wasn't no merch specifically designed for the city like Maine does, but there was For men, there was like two different shirts. For women, they had one. I think they had a hoodie. They didn't have any long sleeve shirts. No concert posters. I think they had an autographed CD for the 100. I think it was autographed by Bruce for the 100, but I wasn't really paying attention to that. I think that's what that was. It was definitely $100, and it said something about a CD. So I can imagine it's not just a CD that's 100. It's got to be an autograph CD. Obviously, Maiden autograph stuff would be much more blah blah blah, but this is a super rare solo project. Rare meaning like Bruce Dickinson hasn't done solo tour in like 30 years, if I'm mistaken. Not mistaken. I believe it's been 30 years since he's done solo, or 25 years or something. So very, I don't want to say exclusive, but just like very rare. I mean, this moment. This would be just like, and there's no comparing, but you know, when you get these huge gods of a singer, of an artist, in these small venues, it is so intimate. And when they're fucking 10 out of 10s, it is. I don't even have to drink. That's my thing. I know the drinking makes the experience better, blah blah blah, but I'm sitting there with an ice water Dr. Brown, and it is blowing me away. Now I don't know any. Going into it, I kind of listening to a couple songs, but I didn't know much. I'm sure more people there knew all the solo stuff. Very good. It's all. Look, that new album. There's a song called "Resurrection Men," and they play that song, and there's a strobe. They do the strobe, like the old school strobe lights. I mean, it's just so. I mean, it doesn't sound like Maiden, but it does because it's Bruce Dickinson. You could tell it's Bruce Dickinson singing for sure. But the music, it's definitely heavy metal, but there's elements of a lot of other stuff with this solo stuff. I mean, he's playing the bongos, he's playing the theremin, Dr. Brown, like Jimmy Page. He's playing. Oh, he's not listening. Hold on, Brown. We're going to get Brown back. We're going to talk about this theremin that he played that Brown's familiar with. Brown, you're familiar with the theremin, that like sound wave kind of instrument that Jimmy Page played with his hands. The theremin has like an antenna. Oh boy, Brown's frozen.
Well,
you're back now. You're frozen for a second. Now you're back. So I was talking about the theremin instrument. It's like, yeah. Tell us about what you know on that.
Theremin.
Now, when I saw the Led Zeppelin tributes, the guy who played Jimmy Page role was playing this
electronic instrument controlled without musical. Let me get the Wikipedia. Here it says, it is the theremin. It is an electronic musical instrument controlled without physical contact by the performer. It is named after its inventor, Leon Theremin, who patented the device in 1928. Its controlling section usually consists of two metal antennas, which function not as radio antennas, but rather as position sensors. Each antenna forms one half of the capacitor, if that's pronounced, with each of the thermos's hands, one half of the capula. I'm not too sure what that word is, but remember, this is the first time I'm looking up this article. Well, basically, you operate it like this. I remember one of the members of the group Fishbone used it. I mean, it's been used on a lot of psychedelic records in the 1960s. And of course, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin used it a few times in concert. He even had one during the Zepp's performance of Whole Lot of Love in the Song Remains the Same movie. It is a unique instrument without any question. But it'd be interesting if I had one, because who knows what I could have conjured up
Look, it
with it.
looks
I'd probably
easy to
go,
it looks easy to play.
it is.
Look, Brown, you definitely when you're at work and stuff, please get into that Mandrake Project album.
All right.
And then look, okay, so there's two parts of the story. There's like the experience of the concert, but then there was like an experience with a fan that was drunk, So we're getting into that, but like I kind of want to set the table and everything for that. But like, let me give you my experience of the experience. Bruce Dickinson is the greatest singer on the earth that you can see in concert, in my opinion, right now. He is the Freddie. Now, some could say, Halford is this, but I think he is the Freddie Mercury of heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the best singer on the earth right now. Like I said, in that genre,
Next to
I'm not
Rob
talking.
Halford.
Now, no. Dickinson is the best now. Yes, Halford is more. It's more gravelly. It's more. If you listen to any of the Maiden or any of the his solo Dickinson solo stuff, it all sounds with his voice. I mean, longevity, longevity. Bruce Dickinson, longevity. Okay, he is. Look, I'm still high on the whole Judas Priest stuff. I love Halford, but comparing him now and then, Priest is what two-fifths of the original band, whatever. Like, you compare that to what Maiden's doing. Obviously, they just replaced, Nico, the drummer, but all those guys are original. All those guys, the main lineup or whatever. The fan base is rabid and extreme and hardcore. The merch, the t-shirts, Iron Maiden is synonymous, like number one, the most popular, next to AC/DC, next to Pink Floyd, but in the heavy metal genre, Iron Maiden has the best merch, has the best t-shirts, like for real, that when you go to their tour, there's 8 or 9 different t-shirts to choose from.
I remember.
They have custom shirts for the city they're in, for Christ's sakes, each individual city tour or each country tour. When they're overseas, they have their own individual custom shirts for that date. So the merch is wild and the best and top notch. Like it's all A1. It's all 10 out of 10. When anything to do with Maiden, anything to do with Dickinson,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glazing him right now because it's true and it's real. And it's one thing seeing granted, I was on the side of the stage for the Maiden tour. It was a bigger arena, but then to see him in a small venue like this, Brown, smaller than 713 Music Hall, like half the size of that, the floor,
Mm-hmm.
very small. The sound was phenomenal. The sound was phenomenal. Now the thing is, and this is funny, and I forgot to mention this to Eddie Trunk, and this is a big highlight I wanted to tell him, with over 40 watching right now, that he made the venue or the staff turn the AC off, Dr. Brown. Can you believe that?
Interesting.
So at first I thought, why? When I left, I asked if someone working there. I was like, did the AC break or something? And she's like, no, the singer told us to turn it off. And at first I thought, oh, to get everyone hot and sweaty and to get into it and to get, well, no, because
That's what I was thinking as well.
yes, well, I was talking to a fan and they said, no, it's Bruce's voice. He doesn't like the cold temperature, it messes up his voice. So, which makes sense. It makes sense. So
Yeah,
that
you
was
gotta.
it.
I
It was
understand
hot.
that well.
I mean, like I wouldn't say I was sweating balls, but it was definitely super stuffy and people were fanning themselves. And yeah, it was hot. It definitely got uncomfortable there. Um, but man, I mean, it was so good. So to get into like the fan that was there, whatever. So like, the GA floor, that's where you stand.
Yes.
$66. Very
Wow.
tight, very tight, very tight crowd, very, very packed. the balcony, probably I think $120. So I got those second row, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these places they'll have, and even the pavilions they'll have like VIP booth tables. So instead of seats, they'll have these tables which are like $250 a seat and all that. So like they had those in front of the seats up top.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy who had that basically decided to stand up. I mean, he was drinking, he was hyped. I get it. Like
Mm-hmm.
he knew all the words to all the songs. I mean, it was definitely a lot of energy. But he kept doing it and doing it. And people were bitching, people were yelling at him, people were mad. The lady in front of me threw a lemon at him.
Oh,
People were like putting their like kind of clenching their putting their hands in their drink
I
and like
just.
yeah, like they were flickering the drink off their fingertips to him because he was a bald headed man. He was a
Mm.
bald headed man, so any kind of liquid, and I didn't do none of that. I just want to go to a concert. I don't even drink really. You know, the price is just so high, but like drunk people annoy the fuck out of me, dude. I'm there and granted, I do record, and that might annoy people, but I do it in a way where I'm not blocking anyone's view or not very respectful. But I hate these drunk idiots loud. Everyone's getting loud. I mean, Bruce Dickinson's talking in between songs, and motherfuckers are yelling at this guy. Like I'm at this point. I'm telling everyone like, shut up. Like let Bruce talk. I mean, and I recorded the whole concert. A lot of that ruined some of the videos. The guy standing up, I did my best. You know, they had screens pointing at the screen. I did my best, guys. Seriously, that was very historic. I mean,
Interesting you should bring that up because I got to tell this story. Me and my dad went and saw Iron Maiden when he played Pine Knob Music Theater back in June of 1985. He wanted to check it out for himself. And by the way, he did enjoy the show 100%. And but during their performance of the Trooper, Bruce Dickinson noticed was looking at the first few rows of the people that was all crowded up in front of the stage, and he did not have a good look on his face. And then after they were done with the Trooper, Bruce Dickinson decided to address the crowd and how they were acting, how they were trampling over one another's dicks. He was saying there's no need to do that. Everybody sit down. Everybody sit the fuck down. There was one guy who did not want to sit down. He was still standing. Hey, you don't want to sit down? Hey, here's a drink for you. Whoosh, threw it at that guy's face. You know, I mean, Bruce will take action no matter what circumstance. You know, like if you're harassing the female fan, if you're going to start fights,
well,
Bruce
bro,
Dickinson
like,
will
how do
call
you
you
think?
out.
What do you think? I was like, bro, this was like being in someone's house and Bruce Dickinson singing there. So small, but like, you know me, I record on the phone, and you know
Yes.
how Bruce and Iron Maiden lately, because Bruce was just on with Eddie Trunk like a few weeks ago, and
Mm-hmm.
Bruce was talking about the phone thing and everything, and he
Mm-hmm.
thinks it sucks and all. He hates that shit, but so I was scared that like Bruce was going to call me out for. I mean, I was like the second row, so I knew you could definitely see me from the stage,
Yes.
but I do it in a way where it's not in front of my face. I'm not looking at the screen the whole time, guys. You know, I'll have it on, you know, kind of on the side, lower. It just depends, like where I'm sitting, where I'm at. I figure out a way to do it right, do it respectfully, honestly. And most people that don't, they're drunk and they're looking into the phones like idiots. They're blocking the person's view in back of them, blah blah blah. But I feel like, in my opinion, these things are once you're at a concert, whether you're drinking or not, and whoever artist you're going to see, and you probably listen to that artist a million times in your life. You know, Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson, not so much for me, but I've really
Mm-hmm.
gone into him deeply within the past recent years of my life for sure, right? And of course, I've seen Maiden. I saw Maiden for the Final Frontier tour back in like 2011. So,
Yes.
but not as much as others. They're super hardcore. You know, I'm definitely a big fans of other bands. I know other where, you know, this is the type of thing I didn't really know much songs going into it, but I knew that it was gonna knock my fucking socks off, drinking or not drinking. I knew because I obviously watched the videos, and I knew how Bruce is live with Maiden when I saw him in November or whatever. I knew that this was going to be a top three concert, Brown, for me. I mean, I would say top five. There's still, the AC/DC, Me and You's Priest thing, the Metallica 72 M72 tour, Smashing Pumpkins, Fifth Row, the Bob Marley Sons, all of Marley's Sons at the Pit. You know, I have a lot in my top five, but like, this is something, Brown, that you have to go see. The ticket's not going to be but under $100. If you get a seat, it's going to be that. If you're going to get standard, it's probably going to be 60, 70, whatever. Price is nothing. The price is nothing, but the sound was so queued up and so damn good. And I mean, you can tell the videos, like that's one of my better videos where the audio, you can just listen to the audio and it sounds like a live record. The speaker was right in front of my damn face.
Nice.
I could spit and it would end up on the stage.
Wow.
I was so close, but you're closer when you're on the floor. But I'm not into that. I'm not into the floor shit, bro. It gets too intense. But anyways, I mean, next time with this guy, look, I'm just gonna move because he did block a lot of people, and but what ended up happening? The couple in front of me, they kept complaining. They kept going. The husband kept going up and trying to talk to staff, and it's so loud you can't hear people when you talk or whatever. So the staff wasn't really doing anything. But then finally they moved them into a booth kind of further away from them. But then the wife invited me and my friend to go down there with them to their booth, Brown, to their VIP section, dude.
Nice.
So I did.
All
now,
right.
at that point, the person
That's
at
nice.
that point, my friend did get mad and left before all that happened because I don't like to have a confrontation with people, with drunk people or concerts. I just want to watch the concert. When you start talking during the shit, you lose out on stuff. You miss stuff. You miss out on stuff, on the
It
music,
ruins
on
the
the love.
moment.
So all of that really happened, and it really pissed me off. But like, I didn't let it piss me off. Like, this concert was so, Brown, you gotta go to Fort Lauderdale, bro, and see this. Like, obviously the big tour next year is coming, 2026, but with Maiden. But this stuff is like the Joe Perry project. They don't do that much. It's pretty rare to get these side projects, to get these solo acts, and yeah, you get your Stephen Piercy's, you get your Sebastian Bach's, you get your Gene Simmons solo, you get your Vince Neil solo. And yeah, they do sing their band's stuff, mostly of what they got famous for, but not Dickinson. He only did one Iron Maiden song, which he wrote, and which they never played live. And that's fine with me. Look, I'll tell you this, Brown, Bruce Dickinson, over 50 watching now. Thank you. All y'all are probably over 55 years old. Thank you.
Oh, wow,
I can't drive 55, and we got over 55 watching. Thank you. My thing is, Bruce Dickinson can be singing lullabies. Bruce Dickinson can be singing children's lullaby songs, and I would still go. Like, it doesn't matter what I knew, and that's one thing I hate. I don't like going to concerts where I don't know the songs. A lot of opening, we go through that when we see opening bands. We don't know the songs, and it sucks. Like, yeah, they could be a good band, but it's way more fun when you're singing along, when you're into it, when you're banging your head, when you're clenching your fist, when you're pumping your fist. It's way better when you know what that is. So for this being a concert where I really didn't know much, to be honest with you, but I was very familiar with the artist. It was a side project. It's his solo stuff. But there's just something about Bruce Dickinson, bro. He really is the greatest. And you can ask me, compare singers, who do you like better? And, I would say Halford. But I'm talking now. And then just comparing that to how, he's just been so consistent. And obviously in the 2000s, Brave New World album. What's the other one? The Army, the military.
Oh, the Iron Maiden. You mean A Matter of Life and Death? That came
Yeah.
out a while after Brave New
You mean
World.
even their 2000 stuff, even their new stuff that's not their classic stuff is so good. Like there's not one bad Iron Maiden song. They can I mean, this band is so epic, and Bruce Dickinson is so much of a living god of metal, and he sounds just like the you put in Senjutsu, you put in obviously it's newer, you put in Life After Death, you put in any of the stuff from the 80s, you put in Accident of Birth, his solo stuff. It all sounds just like I mean it's I don't even have the words anymore. I don't know. I mean, Brown, with all that being said, I'm not trying to take over the show, but this was so much. With all that being said, what is your opinions? What is everything? You have to see this. I know it's hard, and I hope you see May. And I know you saw Maine a couple years ago, whatever. And so that's
Mhm.
good. At least you got that in. But
Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson is. He really is the greatest. He really is the GOAT, dude. I'm gonna worship that dude. I see why Jesse J worships that band.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Maiden's great, but it's all about Bruce, bro. If they didn't have Bruce in that band, Iron Maiden wouldn't be as great as they. I mean, yeah, Maiden, Eddie, all the other members, Dave Murray, everything, Nico, all of that. We get it. The bass, very important part. But
Yeah.
really,
Steve
bro,
Harris.
it's all about. Yeah, Steve Harris. It's all about Bruce, man. It's all about Bruce. Like the voice, like he. And I don't even want, look, I'm not even saying he's the number one greatest voice in heavy metal. I mean, there's your Dios out there. There's your, obviously
Alfred.
Halfords, others that we can name. I mean, it's Deep Purple singer,
Ian Gillan.
Ian Gill. I mean, I'm not saying he's the number one, but some of this shit can make your mind change, like change your mind, guys. Like this, I think he is the greatest singer that's living right now. That's easy. That's so easy to say. I think he is. I think Iron Maiden and Bruce Dickinson and what they do, what they live is the greatest live event. Greatest live concert you can buy at this point in time in 2025. Go to an
Mhm.
Iron Maiden show or go see Dickinson live solo. It is. It is scary, but it's live. It's all live. It's 100% live.
Mhm.
Now look, Brown, and I'll leave you with this, or you can, I'll let you have the rest. He was doing the echo effect during the solo stuff, kind of like using the Halford echo effect. He doesn't use as much with Maiden live, although I do remember there is some of that for sure. But there is a lot, and I love it. I don't mind it. It's still live. It's just the echo effect. It makes it sound more grand. It makes it sound just more way better. It makes it sound way
Like a
cooler.
reverb on his
The
voice.
reverb, yeah, the reverb. He was definitely
I see what
using
you're
the
talking about.
all Rob Halford reverb. But yeah, with that being said, obviously the standing, sitting. I don't know what your opinion on that is, but everything being said, you can agree that Bruce Dickinson is the greatest. There's a lot of newer
Well,
bands that are good, blah blah blah. I get it. Newer bands, fresh voices, but
well, I would say Bruce Dickinson is the greatest when it comes to being not only a top-notch vocalist, solo or with Maiden. Oh, let's not forget the band he was in prior to Maiden called Samson. I know, like he was on a couple of their records. There was a compilation of some of the material he did with that called Shock Tactics. That came out, I guess, in '87 or '88. I'm not too sure, but Bruce Dickinson, he's not only just a singer and songwriter for Iron Maiden, as well as a solo career. He's also written a couple of books. He's also did some speaking performances at a couple of places as well. I remember seeing clips about that. Also, it's also clear that he is an official certified airline pilot as well. Remember, Ed Force One, the huge ass airplane they took to all these different countries, Moscow, US, South America. He was the pilot on all those trips.
Yes. People forget about that too.
And also, let's not forget, he also survived throat. He had a bout with throat cancer for a while. He survived that. He kicked that cancer's ass to the full max with no problems. And I guess he also has a PhD in something. I forgot what it was. So, in a lot of ways, in terms of role model, Bruce Dickinson is 120% that person. All right. But it's interesting you should brought up that guy standing caused a disruption at the concert, like you mentioned, because earlier on you sent me a link of your call into Eddie Trunk's program talking about the issue of either sitting down while the band's playing or standing up and getting everybody's way. Now, keep in mind when you and I saw Judas Priest at the 713 Music Hall in downtown Houston, we had general admission. It was standing room. Everybody else was sitting up in the upper areas of the place there without any question. When I saw Mina perform at the Cynthia Woods Pavilion Center, everybody was standing throughout Mina's performance without any question. I mean, it's like that. The same thing back when Iron Maiden played Joe Louis Arena back in early 1985, and of course later on in Pine Knob the same year when I told you about that issue that Bruce had with those people trampling over one another's dicks like they did.
Yes.
Now, I realize that there are some bands out there who people sit down and watch, whether it's Pink Floyd or one of their ex members, Waters or Gilmore. I understand that there's people sitting down, often sit down to see a concert show. I remember the Midnight Special had that when the show was on TV. And of course, you're going to have some schmo standing in front of the stage, try to get all the glory, try to also into the band that they want to stand, but yet at the same time, they're also blocking that other person's way behind them. Which also reminds me, I went and saw a clip of the band Vixen, the all-female metal group. They did a show in Fort Lauderdale about a year ago, and there only one girl was up in front of the stage standing while everybody else was sitting down. Now, nobody had an issue with that one girl standing, but it was kind of awkward, seeing this
Well, the
one
problem with
female.
and shout out to, I guess Scott has a new channel, Hottie Scotty 85.
Hmm?
And he used to be someone who used to drink alcohol. And the problem is with people that drink alcohol, there's no getting through to them. Like if they're drunk and you're trying to say, "Hey, bro, you're blocking everyone," they don't get that they're being an asshole. Like when you're drinking, you say stuff, you say stupid stuff, you do dumb stuff, but you don't realize that you're being a jerk to people. You don't realize you're talking rude to people. You don't realize you have like a tone to people, because
Yep.
you're drunk. And so
Yeah.
that's the problem you run into. You're trying to tell these people, "Hey, man, blah blah blah," like you're trying to be cool, but then they come at you like very rude and everything. And so it's
Yeah.
like, all right. So then people start throwing lemons and people start getting pissed. When you're on GA floor, that's why they have that for a reason. That's why they have seats for a reason, so you can sit down. Now, on the floor, there's no seats, so you stand. Now, when you go
Yep.
to a pavilion like Pine Knob and Cynthia Woods and others, it's all seats, but then they have the lawn section in the back where you could
Yep.
sit or stand. They have lawn
Yeah.
chairs you could buy. People stand, people sit. There's a
Hmm.
pit section sometimes in the front, right below the stage. That's where you stand as well. It's a pit, there's no seats. Where there's seats, you sit. Now, these pavilions with 30,000 plus seats or 15,000 plus seats, most of the time everyone's standing.
Hmm.
your Pine Knob, Cynthia Woods, and obviously usually if it's rock based music, everyone's standing. I do have to say that. There could be some pockets where there's people, it's all sitting. It just depends, right? But most of the time, when I've been to pavilions, everyone's standing, even if there is seats. Now, if you're at like the House of Blues, and if it's half and half, where the bottom is floor, GA, and the top balcony is seats, well, then that's where you got to have common sense. Well, I want to sit down. I'm going to pay for this seat to sit. Well, I'm going to get a drink tonight. I'm going to get wild, and I'm going to stand in GA and have a party. That's where and I didn't see any, there was just people hopping up and down, but there weren't any,
Drunk
what are they
asses.
called? No, what are they called? The circle.
Circle, you mean the moshers?
Yes, there was no moshing. I didn't see.
Ah,
So
yeah,
too small for that, really. But
exactly.
um, shout out to the Iron Maidens. Brown, you saw them, right? Female.
No, I haven't heard, never saw them, but I would love to check them out. And by the
Yes.
way, YR, if they are coming to your area, I advise you to check them out as well. They are a female Iron Maiden tribute group. I've heard a couple of clips from them. They have a phenomenal players as well. One of them, a sexy guitar player named Nikki Stringfield. She endorses this guitar company. I think it's called Shetler or something like that. I gotta look up
Schecker.
the name. Shecker, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, she
It's a good
endorses
brand.
them. Yeah, she endorses their guitars as well. She plays them live on stage as well.
I think
I
they're
think
American made.
yes, exactly. In fact, I think Nita Strauss was involved with them for quite some time, if I'm correct.
Okay, so let's see here.
And let me also add this, nightclubs has also had their share of drunk assholes as well,
Well, yeah,
too.
like, look, we get that. Like the club you go to, it's a floor, so you're walking around, you're standing, people are dancing. I get
Mhm.
that. Like people, you can buy a section, you can buy your VIP table, people are sitting.
Yes.
But this on this scenario, it was like pretty cut and dry. Like, hey, this is where you stand if you want to stand, and yeah, it's a bit cheaper. It's like $70, but if you want a seat, it's going to be $120.
Mm.
And which is cool because you get the bathroom line is shorter, and there's way more
Ah,
people, and
nice.
there's way more people in GA for sure.
That's
I would
true.
say this. I would say the seats. There's probably 100 seats, but the floor is the size of a, a municipal park basketball court or something, like a slab of concrete. It's similar to 713 Music Hall, but not as big, bro. I'm telling you, it's not as big. Um, which makes it more intimate, which makes it way like these intimate venues seeing these huge major act like when Slash does his solo band, I think he does House of Blues. When Mammoth, obviously, Wolfgang Van Halen, he does House of Blues. So like these huge major names that kind of do their solo stuff, you'll catch them at these small venues, bro, and you might not know a lot of their solo stuff
Mhm.
as a casual fan, but like it is way like the experience because you'll see Joe Schmo tribute band at a small ass House of Blues venue or whatever, right? But like when you see these real artists there, oh
Mhm.
my God, Brown, it's like seeing the WWE Raw come into your local junior high or something that you see in a small 200 person. It's like that's exactly what it's like a wrestling or NBA or NFL, if they would have done a professional anything event at a municipal smaller, it's like wow, it's way different vibe, way different. I wouldn't say way different vibe because the vibe's the same depending on the band and stuff. Like for their concerts because they obviously have their fans that vibe with each other, and so it's definitely like the same vibe as a Maiden show for sure. Definitely on the floor, it was rowdy. People were hopping up and down.
Mhm.
Um, people were smoking marijuana. Brown. There was definitely people definitely. Smoke in there for sure. You could smell it.
Yep.
Um, but what are the chances of you going to this Fort Lauderdale show? The Mandrake
Well, I would.
Project, Bruce Dickinson.
Fort Lauderdale is about, I guess, 4 hours. Well, that's close Miami, if I'm correct, right?
Look, can you look? Nah, it's on the west part of Florida, I think.
Well, let me see. Let me look it
And
up
look,
here.
Bruce was even saying, like, hey, is any people? Because there's people from Houston, like, that were there that, because the Houston show was the night before, and then he was doing Rocklahoma like the weekend or whatever, a couple of days later. So he was like, is there any people following us to Rocklahoma? There's people following this whole tour around. Number one, we know that's synonymous with Iron Maiden fans. There's people that fly in South America, all over the world, and not only just to see them, but like follow them around to all their tours, all their dates on that tour, right? So there was people following Dickinson around this tour. I mean, this is what I'm telling you, folks. This is, I mean, I'm trying to compare it to people that aren't. There is a lot of casual people who aren't familiar with Maine, who aren't familiar with Bruce Dickinson, right? The only thing they might know is the Trooper song or something, or they may have seen the
Or
T-shirt
Run
Iron
to the
Maiden.
Hills.
But the importance of Bruce Dickinson and Iron Maiden, the longevity of the band and Bruce Dickinson and his voice. Keep in mind, didn't he have throat cancer 10 years ago or something? Or when didn't he have?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what year it was, but it was a long while back. And like I stated, he kicked that cancer's ass with no problem, and along with the other accomplishments he has done.
I mean, like they're doing this 50th anniversary. They're not plugging it as like a 50th. They're not labeling it as a 50th anniversary tour. They're run for our lives tour because I mean they're definitely going longer. Dickinson he's already putting out another album for his solo project. It's
Hmm.
going to be like they're going to start recording on it. It's going to be out next year or something. He was saying, right? So he's going to keep touring on that, meaning he's going to keep going with Maine. I mean, I would easily another 10 years, perhaps, especially getting in this new drummer easily, because their tours run what 2 or 3 years or whatever, right?
Hmm.
Easily, easily another 10 years. Easily another 10 years out of Metallica, perhaps too.
Right.
I don't know. It's too. Go ahead, man. What's your history with Maiden? What's your history with Bruce Dickinson? What do you all? I mean, you, explain to the casual fan how we worship this guy, how we worship the band, why they're so important, how are they so important?
Well,
Like,
because
you get what I'm
Iron
saying?
Maiden Well, because Iron Maiden do not sing songs about partying down, getting drunk, or banging chicks. Like that was Motley
They are the
Crue's
Rush.
back then.
They are the Rush of heavy metal. Would you agree?
Well, they are basically one of the most intriguing bands out there in terms of heavy metal because they come up with a lot of different interesting topics for their songs. Like Caught Somewhere in Time, which begins the album Somewhere in Time. Suppose you're approached by some mad scientist who offers you the chance to go in his time travel machine to go back years before when you were a teenager, the chance to correct whichever mistake you made back then, the chance to relive the time where you were free from responsibility and such, but with no possible chance of returning to the present. Would you take that risk? That's the topic of that song.
Yes, I would do
waste
that. Would
waste
you?
waste maybe who knows, but wasted years. That's Dickinson, the narrator, telling this one person, don't waste your life like I did when I was your age. You're living in your golden years, like
Yeah,
enjoy the moment.
it's not all about, you know, um, the number of the beast. And I mean, there's a lot of songs about like war, battles,
Yes,
famous
Aces
battles.
High. Aces High. Yeah, hell, they even have a song on Somewhere in Time called Alexander the Great. You won't find information like this on the regular rap record, like from Lil Wayne, obviously. I mean, they came up with song. They even came up with a song called "To Tame a Land," based on the sci-fi book Dune by Frank Herbert. And he also came up with the song "The Trooper," which gives a viewpoint of the soldier fighting whichever war that he was in, whether it's in the Civil War on horseback. But it gives you a point, the viewpoint of what could possibly happen if you were in that predicament. Chances are you get hit by a Russian from their musket, boom, like you could die right on the battlefield right there. Aces high about aerial combat during whichever war, whether it's World War One or two. 2 minutes to midnight,
And we're
and of
and these are
course,
just and you're just going and these are the quote unquote just like the signature classics or whatever. I mean, there are
yeah,
songs like the Clairvoyant song.
hmm,
I mean,
yes,
going into the 2000 stuff, the song "Brave New World," the
hmm,
song "The Wicker Man."
hmm,
Um,
the
I mean, those.
Klansman. By the
I
way,
mean,
it was
just
a,
like
yeah.
wow.
By the way,
I
it's
mean,
with a C. By the way,
wow.
yes, they have a lot of interesting topics in their songs, without any question.
I've been listening, and but between you like Brave New World and Matter of Life and Death, which one is you like better?
I never really heard Matter of Life and Death, or let alone Brave New World. But Brave New World is a big deal, because not only marked the return of Bruce Dickinson on vocals, but also the return of Adrian Smith on guitar, because he had departed from the group about a couple years before Bruce did.
And they had Yannick Gers on there in the '90s. No, we have a freeze from Dr. Brown. Wait a
Now,
minute, folks.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Yannick Gears was involved right after Smith's departure, and he's still with them today. I figure, since he was good friends with Dave Murray, their other guitarist, they figure, hey, let's have much twice the power. Three been like this since that. Iron Maiden, since the year 2000, has been a six-man unit, and many people love it because three guitars, twice the power. Enough said.
Now, there's videos that I
Hmm.
think I got like 90% great video. There's a lot of that guy blocking, but again, I could do the best I could. And obviously, when I moved up, the problem
Hmm.
was there was a rail, like a rail bar, obviously on the balcony, kind of blocking. So you had to zoom in a certain way. I think for the most part, did the best I could. I got the whole damn thing. Over 2,000 views on that. I think
Yeah.
2.5, but expected more.
Yes.
Um, but
And
again,
by the way,
not a lot
shout
of
out.
people are. I mean, Bruce Dickinson solo isn't really like a household thing either. So it's not like AC/DC
Yeah.
videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Matt No in your chat. He's also quoting some songs from the Paul Di'Anno era, like Running Free, Rat Child, and much respect and love to Di'Anno, because they came up with some good ideas for their song titles, and as well as the content of the songs back when Di'Anno was involved. Murders in the Rue Morgue, the story about a man being accused of murder during the English area where everybody wore top hats and such, during the time of Jack the Ripper, Rothschild, someone looking for this man for whichever reason. And of course, Running Free and Remembrance of Tomorrow, Prower, and of course, one of my favorites, Phantom of the Opera. And we all know damn well what inspired that tune. All right. And also Charlotte the Harlot, a song about the women they knew who was a prostitute. The continuation was in 22 Acacia Avenue, which Dickinson says, Charlotte, don't you know what you're doing? It's a legion to ruin. You're taking your life and throwing it away. He's basically telling this woman to get out of the prostitution game, because God knows what could happen in the near future if she were to continue. So much credit for Iron Maiden for coming up with some real interesting topics for their songs. Most definitely. All right. You still there, Wire? Hmm. Probably step away for a couple of
No, I'm
seconds there.
here. I'm
There you
letting
are.
you go. I was talking a lot.
All right there.
Searching Blabbermouth, see if there's any more articles on that. But I mean, there was. I mean, are you familiar with the song "Accident of Birth"?
Excellent. Who performs that by chance?
Dickinson. It's one of his solo songs.
Oh, oh, I didn't really. The only ones I remember playing on the radio was his cover version of "All the Young Dudes" from 1990, "Tears of a Dragon" from 1984, 1980. No, excuse me, 1994. I meant to say, my bad, or 1995.
Yeah,
He had a
he
solo
played
record
"Tears of
called.
the Dragon." He played that song. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, he had a lot of solo records in the past. Tattooed Millionaire, Balls to Picasso, where Tears of a Dragon came from, Skunk Works, and a couple other solo records as well. In fact, Skunk Works was when he debuted his short haired look, which he continued for many years.
Are you
All
ever
right.
going to debut a short hair look for you?
I did a couple times in the past. I'm going to let it grow out a little bit there.
You can do like a buzz cut.
Hell no. Fuck that.
Come on. Get a good looking fade, get faded up. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Oh god, fuck that buzz cut shit there. And speaking of this, I just discovered this. Now, Frank Carter and the Sex Pistols, featuring Paul Cook, Glenn Madlock, and Steve Jones, have canceled their previous announced summer fall tour of this year in North America. Earlier today, Jones released the following statement through social media saying, "I got good news and bad news. What do you want to hear first?" Okay, the bad news. I've broken my wrist, so unfortunately, we won't be able to do any shows for a while. The good news is the surgeon said I will be back playing guitar in the not too distant future. The other good news is I'll be 70 tomorrow. God bless and God save the wrist. And I'm surprised about this because usually the voice of the Sex Pistols is, of course, John Lydon, aka Johnny Rotten. But they got this dude named Frank Carter on vocals, apparently. And that is like a kind of questionable there. But then again, the Dead Kennedys are touring with a different singer other than their main frontman, Jello Biafra. He was a very notorious figure in the 1980s just as well. And it says here, the Pistols added in the statement, the performances will be postponed and rescheduled when Steve has fully recovered. Please check your local venue web pages and our social media for more information. We appreciate your understanding and your support. Now, the North American tour of this year with Carter was scheduled to begin September 16th at the Longhorn Ballroom in Dallas, Texas, where you're at, and conclude in October 16th in LA.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever seen the recent photos of John Lydon recently?
From who? From where?
Unrecognizable. John
From
Lydon. He was Johnny Rotten from the. He was the original. He was the main vocalist
yeah,
for the
Sex
Sex
Pistol.
Pistols. Yeah, yeah. He looks way
Oh,
different than what he did back in the day. Way different. In fact, let me look it up and give you the description on how he's looking now. He's kind of like gained weight himself there. He does not look the way he used to when he was younger, obviously. But then again, neither has David Gilmour. He seemed to gain weight as well, along with Axl Rose as well as Brian Johnson, the singer from AC/DC.
wait, did you see that short I made of Axl Rose? He likes eating at buffets a lot nowadays, after
Oh
shows,
yeah, I remember
after
seeing.
concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better work going to the gym to work that all off. That's for sure there because,
And
dude,
Marilyn Manson's trying out an MLB baseball player for the Yankees. You saw that one?
not one yet. And by the way, he
Uh,
made a little mistake with the Axl Rose one. He has a sound like a haircut like Donald Trump has, but more like a biker style. He does not have curly hair, unfortunately. There, of course, I'm looking at this photo of John Lydon right now. Johnny Rotten. It's like, what happened to Johnny Rotten? Let me look up the article here. According to Reddit, and it's like a lot of comments are coming in saying it's not butter though. I still can't believe it either. He's on the submission kind of take on one of their song titles from their only album. Was from a year ago. Most recent photos don't show him being so large. Odds are touring. He was out with PIL at the time. Took a toll on his weight. Lots of bands report eating like trash while out on the road and not getting much time to do some exercise. I mean, Jeeves, he's over 62 years old. Maybe cut the guy some slack. LOL. Now, PIL, by the way, was his
mm.
post Pistols group, Public Image Limited. That has lasted throughout the whole 1980s. In fact, YR, I do suggest you typing in on YouTube search bar John Lydon, American Bandstand. The whole thing he did on that performance, on that show, was to this day one of the best TV moments in rock history.
But do you like this new Sex Pistols with or who do they have now? The drummer that's doing the Sex Pistol stuff.
His name is Frank Carter. Let me look up his profession right now. Frank Carter. He is and I guess Lydon was not that up to par when it comes to performing, and plus Lydon is kind of up to here with the Sex Pistols, and says here he currently performs alongside the Sex Pistols. He is renowned for his fierceness, live presence, and he was also part of the music groups Gallows and Pure Love, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. And I guess, as I stated, he performs alongside the Sex Pistols. Now, are there any allegations against him? Actually, confirmed to have committed 2 murders. Carter claimed to have murdered 43 people, I meant to
Well, look,
say.
that's what.
However, reporters have doubted most of his claims. All right, so that's probably a bunch of bull crap there. Probably a little publicity stunt there. Now let me look up the Wikipedia. No, that's not the wrong one. It's a different Frank Carter, for crying out loud. Remember, there are people out there who still have the exact name, but yet different things that they do in life. There's could be a singer, there could be baseball player with the exact same name. So obviously there.
Wait.
So go ahead.
Well, okay, so I want to compare these two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, these two groups who are touring technically and using that name. The Ramones. I don't know if he's
Mm-hmm.
using the Ramones name, but it's definitely like Johnny Ramones. Whatever one's still alive. There's only one still alive.
Marky Ramone.
I think he's the
He's a,
drummer.
yes, he was one of the drummers, the
And
second drummer
then,
after Tommy left.
okay, and then this Sex Pistols band, the only original member is the guitar player or the drummer. Which one? I forget.
No, they're all original except for the singer Frank Carter. Is
Really?
Yes, Glenn Matlock was the original bass player for the Pistols. He got booted out, and they replaced him with a guy who looked more punk but couldn't play the bass for shit. They had to have somebody behind the stage filled in the bass parts on their live performances at times. Now, Steve Jones, the guitarist, he's an original member alongside drummer Paul Cook and Matlock. But unfortunately, sadly, as I mentioned, the only one missing out of the frame was Johnny Rotten, aka John Lydon. Why he's not involved in it, I'm not too sure, but
That
most
is
likely
pretty
he's
cool.
probably up to here with the Pistols altogether there. He wants to move on with his life.
Who's more popular, the Ramones or the Sex Pistols?
It's kind of like
Both the same
debatable,
genre,
but
right?
yes, punk
Punk
rock,
music,
because
punk rock.
yes, and both had a massive influence on the generations of punk rock bands out there.
And I believe they're doing like same, like smaller venues too, like super small venues. But the Sex Pistols got a little bit more going for them. They got all original members, are all classic lineup besides the singer.
Yep.
Um, Sid Vicious.
Yep. Never was a musician. Like I stated, he was only brought in because he was Lydon's friend, and plus he had the punk look, which everybody was sporting at that time. The spiked hair, the leather jacket, the snarly look on his face, and the only problem with Sid Vicious was his heroin addiction.
Mm.
That's what did him in the long run.
Did
And
you
the
hit up Shaft or Danny
I
or
I did
Paul Three?
message Danny the link to our show, but I still have yet to get a response. Let me see if he left a response yet. Let me look it up on Discord. But I didn't. I'm thinking maybe Paul is probably sleeping at this moment or something like that because he probably has a day job he has to get up in the morning for. But so far, no response from Danny MT, sadly. And nothing from Paul Three or Deebus Dave Rose. I'm thinking it probably is in bed he
Pretty
might
late.
as well. Yeah, it
Late.
is very
Do
late.
you have did you figure out Fort Lauderdale? Is it on the west part of Florida or is it
No,
like you said?
it's in the southeast,
Man. Yeah,
and
it's the
it's
only
about
Florida show he's doing too, Brian, I think. Fort Lauderdale.
4 hours away.
I mean,
4 hours away.
look, it's worth it for to drive 24 hours to see it. Honestly, like 4 hours ain't nothing to see a con. Like honestly, if you did that, or anyone out there who was on the fence about seeing this, which I was, because I was like, man, I don't know any songs, blah blah blah. But then I heard the Bruce Dickinson interview with Eddie Trunk 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, I heard it live. And bro, Bruce was taking calls from fans and answering. I mean, like,
Yes.
What's the hardest Maiden song to sing? Like, bro, he was super cool. But like, and that's how they are. Maiden is super cool with their fans and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why their merch is like the best. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about the fans, really. But like, what was I saying?
Hmm. Go ahead. You were talking about, I guess you were going to give more compliments to Bruce Dickinson.
Well, no, okay, so yeah, for the people out there who are on the fence who are like, man, I got to tell you, bro, this might be some like this. I'm telling you, like this might be. If I didn't go to the Metallica thing with Pantera opening and all that, if I didn't go to Pumpkins fifth row, Smashing Pumpkins fifth row, right in the middle,
Green Day.
The Bob Marley brothers, the son. No, Green Day is not on my top five at all. It was cool, and Pumpkins was ever like, remember I saw Pumpkins headline tour in 2023. It was like a week before the Metallica thing, and it was I got upgraded, and fifth row straight up. That was like a top two. But then like you got the KK's Priest thing. That was
Mhm.
epic. You have, but this I don't know. This Bruce Dickinson alone, and his voice is just on another level. Like, and then to think like he's like almost 70 years old. He's older than Dr. Brown here on the channel.
Mhm.
He's been singing since Dr. Brown was a teenager, I would say.
Hmm.
Was you a teenager listening to Iron Maiden as a teenager?
Yes, I was. Yes, I remember seeing
Wow.
the clip of them doing the song Iron Maiden with Deano, and it was like, wow, interesting. And it was about, I believe it was about, let's see, about, it may have been about 16 years old I was when the Number of the Beast came out, and I saw the video for Run to the
Ah.
Hills.
Here, Getty Lee, hop on the call, brother.
Mm, all right.
Like a lot of people have been loving me on Joe's shows, and obviously it's kind of like a pay to play deal in a way, but
Mm.
um, I want to prove the worth on some of these. Bullfrog is when he's on, it's the Bullfrog show, so you have to keep that in mind. But you
Of
can
course, everything
also
is about Bullfrog.
no, I'm not being negative. I'm just saying like that's how kind of entertainer he is, a one man entertainer. But when you're on the show with him, you have to figure out a way, you know, to move with that. So it's like you ask some questions, stuff like that. Not that hard. A lot of people don't do that. I feel like when Joe's trying to make a song, someone else has to. People do like Garguts does. I had a conversation with Joe about that. Garguts, and I've been hard on Garguts, but Garguts does steer the shows when Joe's gone. Garguts
Mhm.
does take that manager position when Joe's gone and steers the show, takes control of the show. So, the topic might not be what you want it to be, and I've even talked to myself on this too. Like he is doing good for Joe, and so I'm giving him flowers, and I'll no longer be negative towards Garguts publicly, privately. None of that, pictures, anything, making, AI pictures of Garguts with a trans, supporting trans kids t-shirt or where I won't be doing that or nothing like that. But um, I do see finally Garguts is, and he's always done this. He's always taken control of Joe's show when Joe has gone and leaves. You know what I'm saying? So without Garguts, no one would be talking, honestly. Because with a Tard group, with a Tard crew, Brian, you have to make conversation with them. You have to keep the convo going with the Tards. You know what I'm saying? Um, Brian, I mean, do you feel like you're ready to maybe join a Cronin program coming up with me on it?
It all depends on the timing of things. Remember, I work
Yes.
on you. I work on. Remember, I do my job. Around the 9 p.m. period of my job, that's where we're cleaning up and
No,
getting the
that's what I
things
told
that they need.
Joe. I
Blah
told
blah
Joe the
blah.
late, like Brown's more available late night, and maybe squeeze you in to monetize this because honestly, it's not. And there is wrestling talk. I'll give it that. That might throw you off a little bit on the wrestling talk, but honestly, Joe, when Joe brings you on, he's gonna take control and he's gonna, what I'm saying? I mean, he told me straight up he has no issues with you. He has no issues with Dr. Brown. He likes you, like he's always liked you. Yes, he took
Well, let
offense
me.
of you. He took offense of you taking offense of him talking about the suicidal jokes. So y'all both were offended from each other. Okay, it's equal. Y'all are
Yeah,
equal because
but
of
what?
that.
Yeah, but instead of making me out like a psychopath with the collagos clips together, he could have came to me in a DM and said, "Hey, is there an issue with
You're
the
right.
suicide jokes? Is there an issue you could have addressed me? Well, why could you tell me up front, why do I do these suicide jokes?" But then again, well, I could have said, "Well, you often at times twist the narrative, try to make yourself look like you're bipolar or something like that." And one more question I want to know is why in the damn hell does he have that such of a high water bill? What the fuck does he do with all the water at the area that he lives in? Does he have a backyard pool that's larger than the house
I
or
think he
what?
does have. I think there is an above ground pool, which does. You do have to bring in a lot of water usage for that. A lot of gallons on that. Um, Megawatts. And obviously, look, Joe is a hard worker, so you're gonna have to take multiple showers a day. 2 or 3 showers a day.
Yeah, but
More,
what does he hard? What kind of hard work does he do?
I believe he is I think he works in plumbing or something like that. I think he's trying to build up his own plumbing business, like have his own
Plumbing,
plumbing,
plumbing.
like a plumber or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
tell you what, Joe, when you next time you go on any of Joe's program, tell him or better yet, DM him tonight and provide video evidence of him working his plumber job.
Can we get evidence of you working your vampire Undertaker Paul Bearer job, please?
I already did that a few times in some of the
You
selfies I
did.
did with these yummy. Remember, I showed you a photo as. Remember, I showed you a
No, but
DM
Joe
view of a
is
photo of
Joe
myself.
is a worker. Joe is a good worker. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. All right. I think this probably we come to the conclusion of our show. I guess you
You
could
don't want to do
say
a top
there.
10?
No, I don't want to do a top 10 right now. And Getty Lee, as I'll know, says he has it's close to his biddy by there. So, all right. So I
Joe has
think
a 30-foot in-ground pool, he's saying.
all right there. I think that's probably the show for this evening here. I was able to get this out of our system ahead of time, which is kind of good when you look at it.
We know the Joe thing, yes, he likes you, and we'll get you on there, monetize this something late night, put you on there. He'll be excited to have you on. Well, next week we'll be live. I don't know when. It's probably not gonna be
Next.
as late,
Mhm.
but there'll be more rock news, metal news, everything.
Everything. And also a couple of topics I want to bring into light. And I'd like other people to join
Yes,
in on this discussion as well, other than it's you and I. Songs about infidelity. There's lots of them out there that we didn't know existed. There's a few from the past, a couple that we know, like Lips of an Angel by the group Hinder. I remember that song was on the radio many times before. And also Answer Songs, which is a song in repliance to another song. We got to dig deep into that for Shizzle. All right, Taylor. So, YR, feel free to take us out.
yes. So everyone, this show will get thousands of views, guaranteed. We've had over 50, over 50 consistently, and dropping to 30. A nice 20 piece here and there. But over 40 consistently watching all night, Brown. So congratulations for us on that one.
All right, nice.
Last week's show almost got 10,000 views. It's right at like 9 point something.
Mhm.
But there was another show like a few weeks ago. We got over 10,000 views over there. Over 10,000.
Yeah, we were discussing the Ozzy situation there.
So I mean that was a big. But we'll see this video. I have a feeling might hit that 10,000 mark again. That this Roger Waters thing, plus the Becky Lynch thing. I mean, that was wild. Putting those two together and comparing. But wasn't I mean, this was a good show.
It was
Scott
definitely it
Scott
was.
does have a Hottie Scotty 85. He does have a new channel. He's in other communities. Boring. I mean, to me, it's always been boring. The whole prison dub bullshit community or whatever. But Tony, like that's been Tony's baby or whatever. I never got into it. It's like the Malky stuff. I never really. There was no interest to me. I never got like addicted. Like I'm addicted to Cronin. I mean, we are addicted to JCS. We are addicted to Joe Cronin. Dr. Brown does glaze and worship Joe Cronin. We will bow to our God, Joe Cronin. And we will worship Joe Cronin and donate to him. Dr. Brown, look at my finger, please. You will donate all your money to Joe Cronin. Yes. I am hypnotizing you with my finger right now. You will donate all your money to. No.
I was gonna say, what the fuck, dude?
Look, people are missing out. We're getting all the numbers, the views, the viewership over here. We're getting over 50 watching live. We're getting thousands of views on these videos over here, guys, on these lives. So join the party if you want. You can click that StreamYard link and everything. But we'll be live next week. This was a late show tonight, but we have mega views on this show tonight, Brad. So we're gonna see as it grows. I bet it'll be close to 10,000, Brown. Thank you,
All right,
Dr.
thank you
Brown.
as well, my man. And we'll see you all next week, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody take care and subscribe to this channel and subscribe to my channel as well. Dr. Earl W. Brown. Look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.